Leo.
So we have a quorum. So we'll call the meeting to order at 6:08 p.m. Roll call, Karen Kravitz,
Steph Charleglio.
Lino Izzo.
Rich Mandel.
others present.
Fire Chief Sean Rowland.
Assistant Chief Ted Packowitz.
Joe Capucci. Nate Case.
Tino Connor. Tino Connor.
All right, is that everybody?
Looks like it.
Okay, and next is public comment. Hearing none, liaison comments. Do we have any liaisons on the call? Nate, do you have any comments?
No comment at this time.
Okay,
Sorry.
and do we have our finance or board of selectmen liaison?
No, they stopped doing that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
doing
that's
that.
right. I'm sorry. All right. Okay. Chairman's report. I wanted to just give you a quick update on our last meeting. And let's see. So there was a November 16th webinar on active shooter preparedness. Mike Boucher shared that link. I unfortunately could not attend, but he was sharing that link with anybody that wanted to attend. We believe that we have resolved all of issues on the fire dispatch protocol. I just need to go over it with Chief Rowland, and then I will be at our next meeting presenting it to the Fire Commission for approval. So that was basically one of, as you might recall, that was one of the recommendations, is that we update the protocol and draft it with an eye toward resolving issues that had come up in the past. So we think we've accomplished that. Mike, part of what's come out of our committee is one thing that's come out is that Mike Boucher shared with us this program called Stop the Bleed. And it's basically someone invented a backpack that has everything you need in it to stop the bleeding in a situation like an active shooter situation and other situations. And they have started installing those in schools. So Mike, and in other town offices. So Mike has connected us with that person, and the town is looking at beginning to install those. So they would be where the defibrillators are, with a big, with a sign. And that the other idea is to provide training to town officials and also to teachers. Ultimately, Sean, you did that training, right?
Yes.
Yes. So has everybody in the fire department done that training?
All the EMTs have.
Okay. So, yeah. And now you're a certified trainer?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ted, we can do the train the trainer class on that, or we are certified.
Oh, okay.
We are certified. The instructor just said when we run the first one, she wouldn't mind us being there just to make sure we're comfortable doing it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's something that's come out of that committee that I think is going to be really a great thing for the town and hopefully the schools as well. So, I'm sorry. Another thing that we've been talking about is basically going back to the report and the 14 recommendations and where we are on all of those. So we're just looking back and seeing how those can be implemented. Yeah, and then our process for dealing with issues, which we've been successful in if identifying an issue, bringing it to the committee, bringing it to Mike Boucher. He looks into it and reports back. So that has been working well. And that's another one of his recommendations that's being implemented. So as you may know, they have they hired a 6th dispatcher, they've hired a 7th dispatcher now and are just working on the schedule. And they've also implemented the training recommendation, which was to make sure every dispatcher has 3 training opportunities every year and is a member of the trade association. So that's all happening. Anybody have any questions?
No.
All right, that's it for that update. COVID-19 update.
So COVID-19 update is pretty much status quo. We have one individual in the department out right now with COVID. He got diagnosed today with it, so he's going to be out. Other than that, we've been pretty good with it.
Okay. And a review of current financial statements.
So current financial statements, things to really look at is repair maintenance machine 53510. We went last month to the Board of Selectmen. We explained to them that we are going to be over in that line pretty considerably because of unforeseen repairs due to the apparatus. I think we had a $23,000 repair to the tower. We had multiple repairs that were unforeseen on the other trucks, engine 9, rescue 1, engine 7 had some. We gave a presentation to the Board of Selectmen at the last meeting, went over it, and we'll be drafting a funding request this week. It's going to be going over, and at the next Board of Selectmen meeting, they're going to be taking it up, and then the next step would be going to the Board of Finance. But we anticipate that line right now with unforeseen things that we've spent so far since July. We're going to be spending in the area of around $56,000 that was unforeseen with broken down items. Next one we'll take a look at is medical expense. Physicals have gone up, and we might be okay this year. Come for the next budget cycle, which we're going to be taking up in January for your approval. That line's going to have to go up along with other lines because there is going to be a cost increase again. Cleaning custodial, the part-time, all other, that line we'll have to take a look at. Part-time maintenance, 50330. That was the line we had William, the custodian here at the firehouse. He's since retired, and we had to hire a private cleaning service to come in. They're come in once a week. So we'll keep an eye on that line item this year. And we'll have some money in the cleaning custodial line to hopefully cover some of it. But we may be short on that depending on where we go this winter with COVID. If we have to ramp up, we'll be short in that line, but we're doing the best we can. Technical 55120. It's going to be another line we're going to keep an eye on. This is the line where all the everyday supplies come out of, Speedy Dry, water, different things like that. There has been a cost increase in a lot of this. That's the everyday supplies, as everybody knows. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Gear replacement, we're going to be running tight on that line this year. That's actually a good line to run. Not to run over the budget, but that's actually a good line because that shows that we actually have movement in our membership. In the last couple of months, we've gained 3 new people in our department, and they're going to be going for Fire One training the beginning of January. So that's a good item. The other one that I have to check with Tony tomorrow is I don't understand 55210, the gas line. That line hasn't moved. That's the fuel for the trucks, and obviously we've fueled the trucks since July, so not sure why it's at 12.5, but I will look at that tomorrow.
I just have a quick question going back to the cleaning. So at the height of COVID, you had William for 19 hours a week. And then you had another company coming in to clean, correct?
Right.
And then is it my understanding correct that you got rid of the outside company and just had William?
We did, and now we're back to an outside company,
Okay. And is that the same outside company, different outside?
different
company?
outside company.
Okay. And as of right now, you feel once a week is sufficient, but you might have to
We might
increase
have
that.
to increase it over the winter.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions on the financial statements? Okay, fire chief's report.
All right, so Santa on the fire truck is gonna be December 13th and 14th. That's where we go around to the needy families and hand gifts out. Santa at the firehouse is gonna be December 17th from 9 to 12. We're asking everybody if they can to bring an unwrapped gift for the toy closet. We have the box in the lobby to donate for that. Couple other things is we have the funding request, like I told you, in for repairs, that it's gonna be going in this week for the repairs that were unanticipated under repair maintenance machine to the Board of Selectmen. Also, at the last month's Board of Selectmen meeting, we made the presentation about to replace the 10 air packs. Also to replace the portable radios held by the firefighters and the truck radios in the truck. So they're going to be taking up we made the presentation, they voted on it to move forward. They're voting on, Tony is getting the funding information to them for their next meeting. They'll vote on it and go to the Board of Finance, and hopefully by the end of the month, we will be ordering the 10 new air packs that we need that are up, and along with the portables and mobiles for radio communication. We had also what's been going on is I know everybody's heard about, we possibly might have a UI power outage this winter time in the cold weather. I went to a meeting last week with the fire marshal, and during that meeting came up, depends really on how cold it gets over here in the Northeast and how cold it gets in Europe. We may have a serious issue where they're going to have to do rolling blackouts. Basically, it'd be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not going to be limited. The only thing they would not shut off would be basically hospitals, but businesses and households would all be shut down. But they're trying to do it in 4 hours at a clip. Basically, our power grid, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, 50% of our power grid is basically supplied by natural gas, and there's just not enough natural gas right now with the war going on over in Russia and everything to supply us with enough natural gas to keep the grid up and going during the coldest of days. So even if we're hoping for a warm winter where it doesn't have to go that way. If it does, we're probably looking around the holiday, the beginning of January, somewhere in that time frame where they'd be looking to roll this out. But there would be there'd be more information and more scheduling coming out to when we would be shut off in Woodbridge and when we get turned back on and everything else. So it's something to keep an eye on for us. We are worried about the cost of home heating oil and power generations going up this month, I think by almost 50%. So I think our fires as a whole are going to go up. People are going to be burning wood in their fireplace, space heaters. So we're going to keep an eye on that, and hopefully won't get out of control and we won't have too cold of a winter where we have to deal with a lot. But I think chimney fires and house fires are gonna go up if it gets cold. So we'll keep an eye on that.
You want to talk about the shed a little?
I will.
Okay.
We got knowledge that engine 9 that we ordered last December is look like we will take some delivery possibly in October of 2023. So we still have another 11 months to go before we even see engine 9. Another thing that we're going to be talking about is our December meeting. I think we can skip, but we definitely are going to need to have a meeting on, I believe it's January 2nd, to approve the operating budget that needs to go in front of the town. Our operating budget is going to go up because the cost of everything else is going up. And there's really not much we can do. We'll try to hold it back as much as we can, but with cost increases across the board, there's not a lot we can do here. 2 weeks ago, we had a call down at 330 Amity Road, the Linden, where they had a broken water pipe. In that, the water dripped onto the alarm panel, the fire alarm panel. It shorted out the whole panel and all the electronics. They cannot get parts for it because the system is so old. They have to order a whole new system, meaning they have to replace all the smoke detectors, all the pulse stations, horn strobes, and the actual panel. That being said, the fire marshal's been in touch with the Linden. We've been providing a fire standby there 24/7 for the last 2 weeks. We have a couple ideas to try to stop the fire standby by putting it in possibly a temporary system in, but we're waiting to hear back and we'll work with them to see what we can do. If not, it looks like even if it was good and they picked which company they wanted to go with, getting the parts and everything, we're looking at possibly this won't be fixed until sometime in February. So it is costing a lot of money. Their insurance, what I understand, is picking it up, so the town will get reimbursed from this. Right now, we have 2 guys there full time, and we're assessing it day by day on what we can do. We had a meeting. Karen was at also. They had a inland wetland walkthrough for the shed in the back. So the engineer is going to be drawing up some drawings to submit the inland wetland probably in January, it looks like, and make a presentation, and hopefully we'll do what they want us to do and try to work with them, and hopefully it's feasible. And if it is, we'd be looking to build the shed probably sometime, or storage building, small storage building, sometime late spring, early summer. And hopefully get that project off the ground and running. And then we can leave the old firehouse once the storage building is up and move the stuff over into across the street where the new firehouse is, and keep everything on one piece of property. So it's a win-win all the way around for everybody. So, and then the town can use the old firehouse as a community center. But with that being said, we have to go through inland wetland and get through that hurdle. So you want to add anything to that?
The only thing I want to add is I just want to make sure everybody's familiar with the background in case you get questions, because you probably will. You might read about it in paper. So basically, going back historically, the firehouse was designed to have room for everything, all the equipment that the fire department had at the time. And then it was reduced by a number of square feet, 5,000.
Yep.
Yeah. So at that time, the compromise was will reduce the firehouse by 5,000 square feet and will let them use the old firehouse for storage. So even though that was many, many years ago, what, 15 years ago? There has been, fits and starts about doing something about the storage building, staying in the firehouse, doing something with the old firehouse that haven't gone anywhere. So now the town received a $2 million grant to turn the old firehouse into a community center, which is forcing the issue of the fire department not having adequate space. So part of that $2 million grant is going to go to build the storage building. And it's basically a necessary first step in order for the firehouse to be emptied out to be converted into a community center. So that's the very short history of it. And if you get any, also just in terms of the inland wetlands, we have to go to the Inland Wetlands Commission because where the shed is touches on wetlands. So basically behind the firehouse, there's wetlands on both sides. And so there was basically an effort to, they need enough turning radius for the vehicles to pull in and pull out. So it has to be a certain distance from the current building. And so they've come up with a plan that impacts the wetlands the least. And so that's what is getting presented. If you have any questions, and it also replaces wetlands, which is basically when you have to fill in wetlands, you dig out another spot that is not wetlands and replace that wetland space somewhere else adjacent to existing wetlands. So that's part of what the plan that is being proposed includes. So if you have any questions, if anyone reaches out to you with questions, feel free to reach out to Sean or myself, and we'll try to answer them the best we can.
Okay, that's all I have.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, moving on to the activity report. Assistant Chief Pockwitz.
Good afternoon or evening. Since our last meeting, our September report, we did 39 calls for 237.42 hours. That brought us up to 289 calls for the year with 1,550.06 hours. So we were slightly above the average of 37, and our hours were pretty close. And we are running slightly behind on the total year-to-date hours and calls, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Of the calls in there, we did have one structure fire during that period, and we had 8 motor vehicle accidents. Moving on to last month in October, we had 37 calls for 448.38 hours, which brought us up to 326 with the total hours of 1,998.44. So we're running slightly behind on the month for the average, but when you look at that, those numbers are slightly skewed because in 2011 and 2012, we had Superstorm Sandy and then the snowstorm that really ran those numbers quite high, and we're outliers on that. So if you look at it, the 37 is only slightly lower. And our staff hours are actually a little high due to a couple of calls that we had where we had quite a few people on for extended periods of time. And for the total year, we're still running well behind the hours and calls for the full year. During October, we did have 5 fires, and we also had 11 motor vehicle accidents.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Hey, Ted, just a quick question. When you do a fire watch, does that count? or it doesn't count as on your list of hours?
Does not count on the hours. That's separate. This is strictly just calls. It's not counting any of the work that the firemen do for truck crews, training, our meetings, the fire standbys, any special event, that kind of stuff is not rolled into that. So there was like the hours for truck or treat don't count into those hours. That's strictly fire dispatch.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem.
I do just want to say, I neglected to say it during my report, but for anybody who was here, or even heard about it, Truck or Treat was fantastic. I just want to thank all of the firefighters and their families for all of their volunteer hours and everything they gave and did to make that such a successful event. I mean, there were thousands of people here. There was an amazing energy. The fireworks were fantastic. It was just a really amazing community event. So thank you very much for doing that. Okay, Fire Marshal's report.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. As you know, October is fire prevention. Well, for us, it was a month. We were out 8 times. We seen about 625 children. We did 84 inspections, 10 plan reviews, 17 consulting. There was 1 investigation which led to a false alarm, and Woodbridge PD issued the young man a ticket for vaping in the men's room. And we took 1 complaint, and we're working on the complaint as we speak. I don't want to say where it is at this time. But other than that, we're doing all right.
Very good, thank you. Correspondence. We have a couple of pieces of correspondence. You want to do those, or Tina and me?
Can you pull those up on your screen, correspondence?
Sure.
Plus the fire marshal, which we didn't put in the correspondence. Joe, how many thank you letters did you get from your kids? For the students? Joe? Joe?
We got about 100 from the kids at Beecher Road School. Thank you notes. They're on my desk. Thank you cards. They made them themselves. There's some pretty good ones there.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay, we also have another correspondence. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's from the Woodbridge Rec Department, from Kathy Adamovich for the road race that we helped out with this year in October. And that is all we have.
I think there's one more, right?
Is there?
Or is that the same? No, it's actually the same. Okay. No. All right. October meeting minutes.
So Karen, there's 2 meetings in October,
Yeah.
a regular meeting and then a special meeting.
Yep. So we'll start with the Monday, October 3rd minutes. I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes in a second, and then we can have any discussion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'm sorry, it was muffled. Who made the motion to approve?
Bruce did.
Bruce.
Okay. Who's second?
Lino Izzo.
All right. Anyone have any questions or changes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes of the October 3rd Was that a special meeting or regular meeting? That was a special meeting?
No, I think that might have been the regular one. It should be on it. I think that was the regular one, and I think the next one was a special one.
The date may have changed.
Yeah, I think the date changed. Okay, so motion to approve the October 3rd meeting minutes. All in favor, aye.
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 Okay, any opposed or any abstentions? Okay, motion passes. The October 26th special meeting minutes. I will accept a motion to approve the minutes of the October 26th special meeting.
Motion to approve from Bruce.
Second,
Lino Izzo.
okay, any discussion, changes, additions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, our next regular scheduled meeting is December 19th. Today is the 28th. We pushed our meeting back, so I hear Sean saying that we don't necessarily need to meet on the 19th. Anyone have any thoughts on that?
For the signal 28,
So, guys, I don't think we need to have a meeting in December. We're gonna need to have one, like I said, on January 2nd, only because we need to get our operating budget in, and that would give us enough time to do that. If we waited to our regular scheduled meeting in January, we wouldn't have enough time. But that being said, I want to say our meeting, Keita, do you know when our meeting is scheduled in January to begin with?
We'd have to, it's scheduled on the day, we're actually off that day because it's New Year's Day. So I'd have to cancel that and then put it in for, I'm looking at calendar right now.
Oh, hang on.
So we're off on the 2nd, so we'd have to have the meeting with the fire commissioners on the 3rd because the budget is due on the 6th. So we'd have to have the fire meeting on the 3rd, Tuesday the 3rd or Wednesday the 4th.
Let's do, are you guys okay with Wednesday, the 4th? Tuesday's no good for me.
Yeah, I could do Wednesday.
I'm just checking. Do we also have to adopt the schedule for next year?
You have to do it by
We can
the
do
end
that.
of January. But it's good to do it at the beginning of January.
Okay, so that'll be on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yep.
And I can do the 4th.
Lena, are you good for the 4th?
Yeah, Sean, I'm good for the 4th.
All right, great.
Yeah, this meeting, this is Tina, doesn't have a lot of wiggle room for it because the operating budget has to be in on the 6th. So we kind of, if we could all try to stick to the 4th, that'd be great for Sean and I.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, anybody have anything else? All right, a motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn from Bruce.
second,
Lino.
all in favor, aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a
Thanks,
night.
everybody. Great
Have a
job,
good night.
everybody.